Okay, so I forgot something when I was doing the cable bundle from the hot end, and this is that sensor for doing the bed leveling. It's supposed to go in that grouping, and it just kind of hangs off to the side, I guess, out of the way. It doesn't make much sense to me. It seems like I would just put it wherever I feel like putting it. And in fact, that's what I'm going to end up doing. Because why have it hanging there and dangling around when you're trying to print, you know, like this, flopping around all over the place all the time? Because you got to get this and put it underneath the nozzle. The nozzle pings on it and sorts the nozzle then to one side, and then says, "Oh, look, I made contact." I can do that by moving it by hand and putting it where I want, because I got to move it by hand anyway. So it's like I'm not going to actually mount that in the bundle. We could. There's no reason why we couldn't do that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait, and I'll just have it off to the side. It'll still be plugged into the board, but I'm not going to unwrap everything and put that in. Like I said, it'll be dangling there. What do I do with it when I'm not using it? I shouldn't have to bed level every time. One time should be enough to bed level and be done. So rather than sit there and waste all that time doing that, I will ignore it for now. And that will be my my solution to solve that. Like I said, I don't see a need to have it sitting in there all the time. I will plug it in though where it goes on the board, so I don't forget again to do something with it. One, it's not very long, so it's going to be out of the way anyway. So I don't get the purpose of putting it on there. Like I said, I can move this like this around the bed and follow wherever the nozzle wants to go to do the measurement. I don't get it, so it's not going to go on right now. I'll just plug this guy into where he goes on the board, which is wrong board. That's why I'm not getting that. I can't really tell again. When I do these blue lines, it makes it very, very difficult. Okay, I got it. So the other green connector over here, next to this white connector, I don't know if you can see it now or not, but next to there's the red, blue, green, and then the red, blue, green. In that second green one is where this gets plugged in at. So that's our level sensor. I'm going to put LS on this cable, even though it's not going to really matter. But I'll put it there just because I labeled everything else and to stay consistent. So that's my level sensor. I'll run it through my frame here out of the way, and I will plug that into that green spot for it to go in and be done. So I found out there are two longer standoffs in the kit. I found what they're for. They go underneath the little plastic piece that the control board is sitting on, and that allows these to rest against the table or whatever you have it sitting on, and the board doesn't flex then as much, and that's what that's for. So that's what I found out. Still got to find out about the power supply. I'm still searching for that. Once I find out what the power supply does, then I'll figure that I'll do that and take care of it. So let's put these guys on. Shouldn't need a very long screw to do this. Most of the screws are really long in what I have left. So I'm going to take it out of my own hardware to do that, because I don't think I need something longer. I don't need something too long for this. So like these 11s or 12s, whatever they are, should be able to go in that hole. And enough thread comes out the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring this over to the edge. Hopefully I have enough support that it's going to fall over on me. You notice I already moved the board over because
I said, well, you know, I need to get that power supply in there somehow. So I made room for the power supply to fit. Yeah, this is going to fall over on me if I'm not careful here. So I'll screw this guy in. And that'll give us a little bit of rigidity. Oh, where's the other one? Where do the other? There it is, right there. That'll give me a little bit of rigidity in the, so it's not flopping around on the control board mount. Come on, where's the hole? There it is. We'll screw that one into there. Maybe. Oh, like I said, it's going to fall over on me. Ah, nice dropping thing. You know, ah, darn it. Where'd it go? There it is. Trying to find brass on a brown floor. Anyway, I'll turn that back over this way a little bit more. So everything's in my way. There. So that's out of my way right now because I got the that lamp is kind of in my way. As you see, it's showing up on the camera now. That's my magnifying lamp. Okay, so now we got this all together. This has some support underneath it so it's not flopping all over the place. Like I said, I moved this board over, so now the power supply will fit in here and be underneath just like everything else is underneath. So that's what I've done. I may turn it the other way because I believe that AC comes in these first ones. Nope, AC comes in on this side. Okay, so I'm going to put it on, I'm going to mount this way so that the AC is farther away from the motors in case something happens. Don't want an accidental short and have something burn up on me. So that's where we are with all that. I haven't mounted it because I don't know how I'm going to mount it yet. We'll figure that out. Still got to find that information. We've still got to figure out what to do with these springs. So I've heard what happens with the print bed is that this gets mounted on top. The screws for the actual printer for leveling it get mounted through the plate and into this plate. But how does this plate actually get mounted to here? That's the question. And I'm still trying to figure that one out yet. I haven't got that far yet either. Because, again, in their directions, where do you put the print plate together? There's nothing on putting that plate together at all. Nice job, guys. Well done, HE3D. You know, hope you understand I'm making fun of them on that. Leaving out critical pieces of information. Okay, anyway. That's done, that's done, that's done, right? So here's what we got so far, right? We got our, now you can see everything, the display, control board, power supply, not mounted yet. Like I said, the plate and build plate goes here. We got all our belts on. I don't know if they're tight enough or not, but they're on. Got everything connected except for the power to the actual board, and I don't have the heat bed thermistor or the heat bed connected up yet. But that's where we are at this point in time. Right? So, pull the power supply out of here, get it out, raise it up. Let's go ahead and hook up the actual AC power to this. The hot and the neutral. Which one's which on this? They don't seem to care, but I do care. It does matter to me, you know.
because they didn't key these in any way. They're exactly the same. There's an unkeyed plug that has no ground to it, and it should really should be a 3-prong plug. So we should really have a ground on this. To not have a ground is not a good thing. I might go take an old power cord that I have, a 3-pronger, and put it on this, because I don't like using 2-prong plugs on electrical devices. It's a safety thing for me, and I believe that we should keep things as safe as we possibly can. So I will take care of that myself. So I'm not going to mount that right now. We will have this, which will go for the plus and minus, and so that will get put into here. Where are my screwdrivers at? Right here, right in front of me. So here are my screwdrivers. I will open my little case here and get them out. This will work with either slot or Phillips. So I'm going to go, let's see, it's got 3 and 3. 3 plus voltages, 3 minus voltages. I'm going to use the center 2, the center plus. Wow. Conan the assembler put this together. I need a heavier duty screwdriver than what I'm currently using. No. How about my, yeah, here it is. Okay, so a heavier duty screwdriver than I wanted to go with, but that's okay. Put that over there out of the way. Like I said, I'm going with the center 2. Gee, it works so much easier when you... Okay, so on this, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll move the printer over a bit, and right here, hot, neutral, ground, minus V, minus V, minus V, plus V, plus V, and plus V. So I'm putting my plus and my minus on this right next to each other on this. Of course, these little things they put on, they don't really fit with this. See, they don't actually go under it at all. But I will put them in as far as I can, and I will screw them down. They'll come right out as soon as I go to put them down. Okay, so I'll do this one first. Since I've already got my screwdriver on there. I'll do that one first. We'll tighten that down. Then I'll put the negative one in. And as far as I can go again. Screw it down. So that's my plus and minus. That goes to my control board. As I'm going to go hack a cord, because I want a ground. Anything electrical, I want it to be as safe as I can make it. So I will put a grounded plug on here. I don't want any chance of a short happening and electrocuting you by touching the case with no ground. It would just put electricity onto the case. If you have the ground, it's grounded. If the electricity were to short inside and short to this case, it's grounded, so it'll just blow up everything basically inside, and it'll be history. Then you need a new supply, but I'd rather do that than accidentally kill somebody or kill myself with it. So it's pretty stupid they didn't give you a grounded 3-prong plug. And really, for these ends of the wire that go into this, onto the power supply, They should have used spade lugs and not these little guys here, because these guys don't really fit around the terminals. So a spade lug would have worked much better for that. And so that's where we are now. Okay. Sorry break. And I'll go find a cord and cut it, strip it, get it prepped up. Next thing to do, again, I'll go back and continue my research looking for how to mount the power supply. And that's where we are now. Alright. Okay, so I've rearranged my office yet again. You can see the printer over here. In the one picture, you have to see the printer in basically to the side of me in this picture. In this picture, the one on this, isn't that weird? It points backwards for what I have, so it reverses my image. Okay, whatever. No wonder you can't read anything in that picture. I guess it really doesn't, does it? If I turn around and face that way, it's going the right way. But can you read my emblem on my shirt? That's the real one. Yes, it is red forward, so it is correct. It is not reversed. So anyway, this one right here, which is to my right, you can see the printer here. Close up with the other camera to kind of get it. I tidied up the cables a little bit. I tied them with tie wraps to kind of clean things up a little bit. The mount for the power supply is, they don't have one, period. I would have had to design my own. Ends up there's a version of a power supply mount for Hypercube. Well, Hypercube uses extrusions, and so it will work exactly the same. So I'm printing that up right now on my my Ender 3, and also I'm printing up different bed mounts, because these bed mounts are just going to be trash to work with. There's no way of really adjusting them to make things level, even though you're going to self-level the bed. It's nice to get the bed kind of close to being level when you start, rather than being who knows where you're at, right? So I'm working on that right now also. Those are being printed at the same time. And there was one other thing. What was the other thing? The bed mount and wheels for the bed to mount on, so for doing the adjustments of the level. What else? There was one other part. I can't remember what it was. Let me look on my other screen here. You see an octopi in the background on that screen. Let's see. So here's that. So I have the power supply. Here, I'll show you the screen so you can see. Turn off that and turn off that one. Okay, so you can see all the parts here on my S3D. So what I have, I'll get out of here, get on preview mode. So belt locks. So what ends up happening apparently is, over time, the way that the belts fit into this mount on the sleds is they will actually work their way out and come out over time. So there's some locks to lock those belts in place, and that takes care of, find my mouse again, that takes care of the problem. So that's what these three are, the belt locks. These three are the mounts, and these are the new thumb screws to allow us to level the bed. And then these two are the power supply mounts that are being printed. So all of those are in the process of being printed right now on my Ender 3. Hopefully this resolves those few issues that we have. And once they're done, I will restart the video again with those parts. It's about 5 hours to print those parts. But I want to do a save of this, so I want to go File, Save Factory File, and then I'm going to go to Projects, and I'm going to HE3D Upgrades, and these are the 3 upgrades here. They're all found on Thingiverse. I will post links to them all, so that way if you want to build this printer, you can. There may be some other things I may do later. There are some other upgrades available, so I may do those later, but right now I just want to kind of get the basic printer running with these minor modifications, and we'll go from there. So let's go with this and call this, I'm just going to call it bed mount. As my factory file name, even though it's got more than that in there. I'll remember what it is later, maybe. Maybe. Haha, sure. Anyway, so this is about 5 hours and 19 minutes according to S3D to print. And according to EasyPi or OctoPi, it's got about 5 hours to print. So it's a little over 5 hours. This doesn't show the minutes apparently. So it's probably the same time reported by S3D for that time. So that's where we're at with all that. I like OctoPi because I'm doing octo laps. Not very good at it yet. It's still working, a work in process. I was looking for the, oh, maybe it's here. Nope, not there. Maybe here. So there's my webcam looking at the OctoPi. Obviously it's a little off on the adjustment because it's looking too much at the end of the bed there, so I'll raise it up a little bit. So there you can see it. It's printing away here on those parts that I've requested it to print. So hopefully it'll get done. It'll probably be done tonight, but I won't be able to work on it again until tomorrow because I just don't have time right now. So there's obviously some other plugins available. I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's late. I'll worry about that later. I'm not going to do the update. I'm going to do the update in the middle of a print. It'll F up my print, so I don't want to do that. So let this thing go to town. Switch back here on my cameras. Minimize that. So that's where we are right now. I'm going to move this over just a little bit so I can be a little bit easier being in the picture. This is definitely a big printer. The belts are a little loose. I need to retighten them, but I'll worry about that when I get ready to install the bed locks on it, or the belt locks on here. So I'll retighten the belts up at that time. They're definitely on the loose side right now. Other than that, I think I got everything. Oh, there was one other thing, but they really don't work. I tried them and they do not work. It's supposed to be for tensioning the belts, but they they don't tension shit. Sorry. There's 3 screws that go into the top up here. Let me see if I can grab this camera and take it up there. No, my cable's tangled on stuff. Give me a minute here, I'll get it sorted out so that I can. What's it tangled on? Got a million cables, you know. Okay, so now I got it here. So right here on top, you can see there's this screw right there. That is what's supposed to tension the belts. But I don't see how. There's nothing for it to press against, for that screw to press against, to cause that to raise up. And plus, how's it going to raise it up? There's no way for it to raise it. So it's like it was a totally worthless thing. I don't understand why they even did it. Because what they did just doesn't work, period. I'll put my camera back where it was. It was pretty bad. Get everything back and situated again. I'm tangled up something else, of course. I told you it tangled in itself. This camera really wasn't mounted on here. I just had it sitting here. Gosh darn it. In my tripod. It's really not mounted to anything because I don't want to take a plate off of my camera to put it on my SLR camera, to put it on this tripod. So anyway, that's where we are. I'll do video again tomorrow when I have it sorted for the final time, and I have those last pieces together. Then we'll do the final, hopefully do the final video and start a print maybe on it. And we'll see what kind of quality we get out of the darn thing, what kind of print quality we get. Beyond that, there's not much else I can do. I did go and grab a 3-prong power cord and strip the wires and attach it to the power supply. So this is now a grounded supply, and that's the way it should be. You should always have a grounded supply. Safety reasons, you should always have. So, yeah, that's where we are. The only other thing I didn't mount, they actually mounted to the hot end up here, but I don't want this thing dangling around all the time. You know, it's going to be in the way. It'll hit my print, it'll do everything. So I'll just do it when I want to do it. I'll put it on the thing and let it do its adjustments when I level the bed with it, and then I'll just set it off to the side. I don't really care right now. The other thing they did was they did run these wires into the channel, and this is supposed to fit over it, but it doesn't fit over it. It's too much wire in the groove for this to dress over that and hide the wires. But it doesn't look bad. You can see it right here in the camera. Do you even see anything? It's right here, but you can't really see it. So I think that works just fine. So I don't have a problem with it. What else? So that's pretty much all I did up to this point. So it's a tomorrow project after this print gets done. Because 5 hours is going to be, midnight. And when you get up at 4:30 in the morning, midnight doesn't cut it. So that's where we are now. See you on the next part. Hey everybody, welcome back. We're starting back up on this K280 printer here, trying to get it up and operational. So we're working on what we need to do here to get this working. Get some stuff out of the way here because they aren't part of this video. My cutter out of the way here. So there were some issues with the bed mount. If you remember, this is the bed mount right here. It's kind of a hokey bed mount. As you can see, it's not super good, not super stable. Found that there were some available bed mounts for the K280 that came from some guy called CNX or something like that. Let me open the web page he has here. This is CNX's web page. It's called cnxsoftware.com. Anyway, embedded system news and stuff like that. Here, I'll show you the whole page. Sorry, I'll unblock that there. So this is the web page. He built the K280. Keep wanting to grab the wrong thing. There's the K280 right there that we're building right now. All the parts and all the stuff like that. Bed level sensor. This is one of the parts for mounting the bed right here. This is it. So there's some recommended things, a nut to sandwich it, because otherwise, as you can see, these things. Sorry. So let me show you what's going on with this. So as you see, these are the original bed mounts. Wobble everywhere. They aren't very stable at all. I'm going to take this back off. What he recommended doing is you take and put the screw in and put a nut in. That makes sense, doesn't it? Get right here. Get where it focuses here. Okay, so anyway, you put a nut on it, and that, of course, makes it very stable, right? So that's the idea. I'm going to do that on the other two, and then I have the bed mounts printed here. They didn't print very well. There's another guy online, Fugatech. Fugatech. You can find him on his web channel. He talks about the same problem, that they don't print very well. He had to put a brim. Problem I'm having with the current PLA I have in my printer is my brims are not breaking away. They're just sticking to it. It's like, oh my god, I cannot get the damn things off. And so then I ran into some other problems with my printer. It ends up I'm having problems with my Octoprint. Now I don't know if it's my Octopi that's failing or the actual software that's giving me a problem, but every print I'm doing on it right now is layer shifting. So here's an example. You can see where the layer is shifted. All right, get it here where you can see it. Right there, you can see the step. See that step in the layer? That's where it's shifting at, and that's the problem. I mean, it's shifting, and it's random. It's all over the place. I reprinted the parts again. As you can see, there's no layer shift. This is just using the SD card directly on my printer. So, like I said, I've eliminated that it's the. I started going backwards. Of course, I went. What did I do before I had this problem? What did I do before I had this problem? What did I do? You know, I went backwards each step, and then finally I said, well, the only other thing I'm doing is the Octoprint. Ever since I started using Octoprint, I started having layer shift problems, and I thought it was my printer. You know, because the Octoprint was brand new. I hadn't even used it before, and I started using it, and then I had layer shift problems. And at first I didn't relate it to that. I didn't think that could be the problem, but obviously it is. Anyway, so I'm going to remove these other parts here and get to where I can do what we're trying to do here, which is mount the new bed mounts on here. Put the screws in these things, because see, this is the problem right here. Without the screws also, you cannot get this off, because it's just wobbling around. You can't do anything. So it's, with those, without some kind of screw to hold, without kind of a nut or something to hold that, it just is all over the place, and it turns on you. By putting a nut in there, it gets rid of the ability for it to turn. So I put this nut on. Of course, it's a very, very long drive screw here. You can see me in the other camera there. I'm spinning the nut on here, getting it down to the bed, and then I'll grab it with a pair of pliers and I'll turn it with the Allen wrench to tighten it up. And then I've got to do that one more time here. I'm going to move the other camera and bring it a little closer into what we're doing here. It seems like it's kind of far away from the work we're doing. Maybe change the angle slightly. There. This is where we're working now. We're working in this whole bottom section. I have all my wiring done. I tied my display cable here out of the way. I moved my control board over to the one side because I'm going to mount the power supply over here on this side. And that will allow me to, and I still need to 3D print the mounts for this, for my power supply. They gave you nothing to mount that power supply. This is the most incomplete kit I have seen as far as things like mounting the power supply. How are you supposed to mount it? Here's another example of that layer shift. You can see where it shifted. Nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Anyway, that's not a problem with this printer. That's a problem, like I said, with Octoprint. It ended up being that. I have another Raspberry Pi board, so I'm going to try swapping out the Pi board and see if I can, maybe that'll solve the problem. Maybe I got a bad Pi board that's giving me a problem. I don't know. Find another nut here. I'm out. Oh, there's a couple. Okay, got one. I have to grab them out of my box of parts if I don't have them in this set of parts. So we'll screw this one on here in a minute. So here we are, we're putting this nut on. I don't know if you can see it very well or not in this video. Looks out of focus. Let's see if I can adjust the focus of this thing a little bit. I'm thinking about going down and buying another printer, or another camera, because this camera here, the color's off, It's a manual focus, not an autofocus. I mean, there's a lot of issues with it that are giving me a problem that I'm not liking at all. The other camera here, the one that's my blue shirt looks a little lighter in color. It's obviously the right colors in the camera. My walls are basically really that color in this room, so that's pretty true to color. Where the other one's way off on color. And like I said, it doesn't autofocus, and that's a problem. So get this, got the second nut on and spun up, and we'll tighten that up. Okay, so now this is no longer wobbling all over the place. They're nice and stable. We don't have to, this one's not tight. I can wobble it, so it's not completely tight yet. If I can get in there. Yeah, it's just spinning on the thing here. We'll get this tightened up here. There. There we go. Okay. So now I got all three of these mounted on there, and it's ready to go. So the other thing I had to do, because the way it has to mount, the display will be in the way of the mount. So I had to move the display over to one side as well. This is the mount. This is one of the mounts that's already ready to go in. You just put it in the slots and get the T-nuts lined up if you can. Of course, my T-nuts are giving me a bad time here. Get T-nuts lined up in the slots, and then the way I have it is this is going to go right in here like that. And I may move the display back over once I get the bed mounted the way I want. I got to make sure all the bed mounts line up before I do anything else. I'm going to tighten this. Wrong wrench. Tighten this up. And that's tightened up. Now we're going to take. Now, these springs are really nasty. They got the edge is way too sharp on them. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the end of the spring wire here is catching as you try and turn it in on the plastic wheel. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and put a flat washer on there if I have any, and see if that solves the problem. So I got one right here that I can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the spring on, and I put the spring on first, and let's see, after I put the one spring on, I am going to take the wheel. Now there's so here's one of the wheels. I've already put the nut in the back of the thumb wheels. There's a little bit of a raised area on it. I don't know if you can see it or not. That little bit of raised area goes toward the printer bed. So we'll put this on here. The advantage now is that we have, since we have that, if I can get this thing to go, come on, start, anytime. Okay, so I got this wheel started. Oops, I forgot to put the flat washer. And it's biting. That's giving me a bad time already. I can feel it biting into the plastic, that edge of that screw, the edge of the spring. So I'll take this flat washer and put it on there. I'm going to have to go find some more flat washers because I don't have any more up here for some reason. Anyway, there we go. And now it doesn't bite into the thing anymore. Now the way this works is it actually doesn't lock into the print pad mounts. It just basically goes in and sits in the hole. what this allows you to do is it still allows you to level the bed, but it also makes it easy to remove if you need to get to the electronics or anything underneath. Like if something burns up, it's easier to get in there and service it. If you want to change the drivers out to a quieter driver, you just lift this whole thing off, and you can get it here and change the drivers out. So it's so you can get the TL smoother type drivers in here. You know, I forgot the numbers, but you know the one I'm talking about. So put the springs on these other ones here. I'm going to move the printer back a little bit and then give myself a little bit of room in front of the printer. So I put one of the screws, the other spring on. Like I said, I got to go find some more flat washers because I have no more available in my kit of stuff here that I can find. So I'm going to have to go dig through my other hardware because there's no flat washers that came with my. This is my set of different M2 hardware. I think M2 or M3. I can't remember. Maybe M3. So this is all my M3 hardware that I bought, but there's no. I have no flat washers in here. So I'm gonna go find some flat washers. I did get. Remember I was talking about M2.5. So I got the M2.5 stuff because there was no not enough M2.5s to mount the part cooling fan part, the diverter for the part cooler. Originally this printer didn't come with a part cooling fan when it was first released, so that was an addition they did, but they didn't take care of the issues that you really need to take care of, which of course were how do you mount power supply, how a better mount for the printer bed. They didn't take care of those problems. Anyway, I'm going to stop here and I'm going to go find me some flat washers. Okay, got my washers. I found two different ones, but first I was going to just grab these small ones that I have right here. They're really tiny. The problem is their diameter is the outside diameter is too small, and so the spring still will catch. So the only other ones I could find were these. They're a little on the large size, but they definitely won't definitely won't catch the spring. So I'm going to use them. I'm putting them on top of the spring here. Okay, so right here on top of the spring I got one of the washers sitting, and I'm going to put my thumb wheel on here and get it started here. And it stops it from catching on that spring like I said. Set that down. Boy, that worked really well. I'm going to actually change the other washer on this other one to that same washer. The same larger washer. That actually worked really well. It screwed down better than the first one that I did. And I dropped the damn, there it is, thumb wheel on the floor. And I put one of those larger washers on this one too. That worked, like I said, that worked so well. It might as well, when you're here doing this, you might as well do it the first time instead of going back and redoing it later. So I'm screwing these down a bit so that the thread sticks out from the bottom, because the way that it mounts is it depends on just basically those screws sitting in the holes of those mounts. So again, washer, thumb wheel. Oh, on these thumb wheels, after you print them, you have to press a nut into the middle of them. I already did that on these because when I was building them, I was like, I wanted to make sure they fit. And then once I got them in, I actually had to use my hammer to slam them in. So I just said, okay, I'm not taking them back out again. And this one doesn't want to start. It's funny how like one time you can sit there and just go with something that just goes right on in, no problem. And then you do another one that's just like, oh my god, it doesn't want to go, nothing wants to start, nothing wants to do anything. Okay, so we got that. Alright, so now I got all three of them on here. So I got all three thumb wheels on all three of those. Like this is going to go on here. This one's going to fit in here like that, and it just fits right into the hole, just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other mounts. So this is one of those mounts. I gotta find the other one that I didn't. Oh hell, where did I do with it? Is that it? Yeah, that's the one. A little bit of debris inside the hole here. So, you know, grab my M4 screw and one of the T-nuts, get started, grab another screw, push it in, get it in there, put another T-nut on, wants to cross thread, doesn't want to go on. Oh, I'll put one upside down there. There we go. Got it started. So I'm going to put that one, let's see, right here. So I'm going to put this one, get these T-nuts kind of lined up. Maybe. Yeah, of course it turned when I go to stick it in the slot, you know, but okay, so I got that one in the slot. I'm going to line the hole up here, and I got it in the hole. So once you got it in the hole, that's when I've already done the one, which looks like I got it fairly straight. So when I talk about fairly straight, I'm trying to get the lettering and everything to be straight on when I do this. I got close anyway, so this one's already tightened down and in place. So now it's just doing and repeating that on the second one. So I'm going to just, hopefully that'll lock. And that seems to be locking. Yep, so we got the T's to lock. And then I'll tighten that one up. And I'll line this back up here and line that one back up there. And then we'll do the same thing on number 3. And like I say, repeat the process over and over. You know, grab the part, shove that in, and then take a T-nut. Just like that, just keep redoing that process 3 times. Get that T-nut started here. Maybe. There we go. And then another M4 screw and another T-nut. So here's the third side here. It's right here is where the screw is. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's right there. We'll put this side up. Oh, turn that so that these guys face where the slot is for the extrusion. I'll put that in. And maybe get this aligned. Sort of. Turn that a little bit. There, get to the nut then. Nope. One more. Almost. Ah, I turned too much. No, it won't let me get in there, so there's not enough room. So a little bit better design. They made the grooves in the thumb wheels a little bigger. You could line it up and then you could just stick the T-handle or your Allen wrench in, and it would just go right in, right? So a little bit off on that, but overall not a big deal. Got that in and tight. That one felt like it just went right through and didn't go. Yeah, no, yeah, it didn't go. The T didn't turn. There, that time it did. Okay, so now I've got all three of those lined up and ready, and maybe I can get the damn thing to line up properly. That one right in the hole. This one is just being a pain in the butt for some reason. It doesn't want to line up and go in the damn hole. Where is it? There. Okay. Now I got all of them. And there we go. We got our bed mounted. Now it's easy. I need to print the other part. There's another part that's available to mount the power supply. Let me see if I can find it here on the guy. Same guy, CNX software or whatever he's called. I think it was the same guy that had this. No. It's just showing his prints now. Anyway, there was another one. Let me see if I can find it here. Trying to find these things. Maybe this one. Nope, that one I already got. I already got that one. This guy. So here are, I always do that, don't I? Turn that. So these are PSU brackets. They were actually made for a cube printer, hypercube, but since it's using aluminum extrusion, it basically works exactly the same way as what we're currently doing. And so these same brackets will work for mounting our power supply into the K280. So I'm going to be printing those parts. I will put the links for these parts all in the bottom of my video when I go and put it out, and we'll get those all set up for you guys, so that anybody else that wants to build one of these can build one of these, and will have the parts they need in order to print them, or I mean in order to actually build it and make it work somewhat correctly. So as you were seeing on CNX's site, once he finished, he had some sample prints that he did. I'll show you what he had. So here is his printer. This was one of the parts he printed. There was a fan shroud part that he printed. The newer kit comes with a fan already, so that's already set up. Maybe it's not as good as what he made, but it should still work. And then here's a couple of prints. Looks like a key ring or something like that. Something goes on your key ring. Hulk. So a couple of his parts that he printed. Not sure why he's printing. I know you print small parts to begin with, because why print a long part and then have it fail? But once you print a small part, you need to go back and redo it and print a larger part, and print something that I like to print something that comes near the volume, my build volume. So if I have a 600 millimeter printer, I'm going to want to print something that's close to 600 millimeters in height, just because I want it to use up the volume and see if there's any issues as we go higher in volume, as we go higher up, with the actual mechanics of the system. So that's as far as I can go right now until I print the brackets to mount my printer, or my power supply. So you've seen how I've done everything as far as I mark all my stuff so that I know where everything goes. You saw me mark my motors and do all that stuff. You see I got my sled here all working. The belts need to be tightened some more now that they've sat and stretched for a while. there's some other parts. So one of the things that tends to happen apparently with this HE3D printer is that the cable mounts, sorry, not cable, but the belt mounts. I don't know if I can get it on here or not. It's right here. The belts tend to slip out. So there's another thingiverse part that actually goes that fits over these belts and holds them in place. So that's probably something I'm going to end up doing at some point. But I'm not going to do it right away. But I'll also post that part link on my YouTube as well for later. So people don't have to worry about it. So get this guy lined back up again. Alright, so that's where we are. That's as far as I can go until I print the other parts. I'm not sure if the other problem I'm having, it seems like I'm having a lot of extra oozing of material. So I end up with big globs. I mean, really big globs. I've never had that before. So I'm not sure if it's the material I'm printing with. It's my first time printing with this brand of PLA. I won't go into what brand it is until I know there's actually a problem with the brand of PLA. But I mean, I've used, I'm printing on my Ender 3, and I'm using Filament Frenzy's profile. The only thing that's different about it is I had to add in the code for the Bondtech extruder because I'm using the Bondtech extruder. So that requires a 417 step for it, which you can open it up so you guys can see. Since I haven't loaded new software in here for the Ender 3, I haven't done any different software. It's stock software. So the easiest way to add the E steps for the extruder is to go into your scripts. I'm using Simplify here. So in my scripts here, you can see right here is where I put in the extruder steps. So it's M92E415. So the 415 is my number of steps for the Bondtech. And I put the comment here, set new E-step value for Bondtech BMG extruder. That's required for this, otherwise you'll end up with not enough filament flow. So that was they recommend putting the lines. They didn't give you the comment, but I put the comment in there just because I like to know why that was there and understand what the different parameters are. As you see right here at the very bottom, it says Filament Frenzy. So it's just a slightly modified. The only thing it modified, like I said, was just putting in the E step for the Bondtech extruder. So I might be over putting out, or maybe too much material on my extrusion. I have it at 0.97. Maybe I can go down lower and it won't put out quite as much material. I ran it sort of fast, at least I thought it was fast. I'm running at 50 millimeters per second. I could try printing it at 60 millimeters per second because the Bondtech will feed it through that extruder as fast as that nozzle will let it go. And apparently my nozzle is not keeping up, and it's creating, like I said, it's creating these globs. So maybe I can go to 60, and maybe I'll do that when I do these brackets and see how that works out. But I'm going to do these brackets, and we will I'll get those printed up, and we'll see how that works out. Get out of this. I'm going to remove those parts. I'm going to go and import, and go here and go to the hypercube bracket, and I'll get one of them in here. Now the way it oriented, that's not the way I'm going to print it. No frickin' way. So since it has this curve here and stuff, I don't want to print that as my bottom. So you go to this other side and it's all flat on that side. So I'm going to go for that with a I think it's y-axis rotation of 90 degrees. It might be 270 on that. Okay, so must be 270. So now I change that to 270 and recenter it, and now I've got it flat on the bed.
And then what I do is I need 2 of those. So now I'll go up here to edit and I'll say duplicate model, and I'll change that to a 1. Oh, that's 3. 1. And now I got 2 of them, and then I'll have it center and rearrange again. I don't like how close it puts things. Maybe that's just me, but I'm going to actually move one of them. Let's see, I want to move it in the X direction. Put that one there, and I'm going to grab the other one and give myself a little bit of space between these. And that gives me a little more room between the prints. And we'll see how that works out. And let's see. I talked about speeding it up. Let's see what happens if I speed it up. I'm going to go ahead and speed it up now to 60 millimeters per second. And then I'm going to slice it. Didn't take very long to slice. And I'm going to pop my memory card out of my ender and pop it into my reader here, which pops up on my other screen, which you guys can't see. So it has my files that I'm saving. I'm actually going to go and create a temp for this because I want to remove all the other files, because it's hard to read the files because they're all shortened to begin with. Let's see, find it here. Maybe I'll put it on the other one. I'll put it on my other SD card, the one that actually came with this printer. Yeah, let's do that. So the only other thing on that one, let's see, that should be this one. Nope. This one. So this is the K280. No, that's this one. What the hell? Oh, it's J. Let's see, remove this J, remove this. Where's the other one? I should have another removable disk here. I'm going to remove plug that one back in. I think it's I. So there we go. Removable disk I. So I'm going to move all those files over from J to I. So take all of these, cut. No, they were on. No, I'm gonna leave those there and I'll put them on this one. That's right, my mistake. So I'm gonna actually put them on I. So I'm gonna tell it save these to my I drive and save it there. And then I'll take my I drive out, and it only has one print file on it now, and I can put that in my printer and it'll be ready to go. Alright, so I got that all set. So I have that set and ready to print now. I'm going to go ahead and print it and have it all ready, get it ready, and then I'll come back to the video after they've printed, and we'll mount the power supply. And after we mount the power supply, then it's just connect the wires from the power supply to the control board, which will be really simple, obviously. I think I've already got those wires connected to the power supply wherever I put it. I moved it out of the way because I didn't need it right now. But obviously I'm going to need it in a few minutes. But anyway, so everything's ready here other than the printer mount, or the power supply mount. So that will be the next thing we do, and I'll see you in a little while. Have a great day until then. Okay, so back again, and we're getting ready to, I got my mounts for the power supply
printed, sorry. And so I got both of them here, both printed, both ready to go. So I'm assuming some minor things, of course, I always assume. I know that it uses the same hardware like the M4s and the T-nuts. I know that's the same. So I'm assuming it goes on the way that I currently have it, because there are 4 holes in the power supply on this side where there aren't any on the other side. So it's got to go that way. It goes mounted like so and onto the top rail of the printer. So in my case, it's going to mount here on the rail on the printer. I'm going to take the build plate off so it's out of my way, so that I can do this. So it's going to go on this rail here. I'm going to remove this. Oh, can't remove that. I'm going to remove the mount. Can't remove that mount. So anyway, yes. Let's see if this is going to work the way I want, though. That's the question. So let's get this over here out of my way for a minute. So that's going to go in here like so. Maybe I'll turn it the other way around. It won't matter. No matter how I turn, it's going to be the same problem. Okay, anyway, I'll put it in here like so. It's going to get, because I'm going to have to use the other mounts for where my bed mounts. Well, no matter which way I go, it's symmetrical. So here's the problem, which wasn't expected. Is that no matter how I put this, the bed mounts are going to be in the way of the bracket, which truly sucks, right? And I don't know how I've got to get around that. So what do I do now, huh? That's a good question. Damn it. Unexpected problems, one after another. I guess it's not going to go on the inside, is what's going to end up happening here. It's going to be on the outside of the printer, which, again, is another sucky thing, because I didn't really want the power supply sitting outside. I'm going to end up having, the way it is, I'm going to end up having to mount it, you know, like so, on the outside of the printer, so that I can just get to anything, any place to mount it, which is unfortunate, because no matter where I put it, no matter which, even if I move this, it's going to end up like right here in the same location as the holes for the mount. I put the mount over here, this is going to be in the way of this one. So no matter which way I do it, I'm going to have the same problem over and over and over again. So I can't mount that on the inside, unfortunately, which is way too fucking bad. Way too bad. That just really reeks. Wish there were another way to do this. But I don't see any other way to do this now. Maybe I should go back to my original plan, which is model my own mount, which basically is something that attaches. Maybe I can make something that attaches to the. Here, I'm going to move this camera so you can see what I'm talking about. So maybe. Come on, here. Maybe I can make something that attaches to these rails here on the inside, or on the outside here, sorry, and have a hole that goes through this way like this, in between the two rails here, and that'll allow me to screw into the power supply on the side here instead. And maybe that will, you know, there's like 4 holes on this side. I can turn it the other way and come in and do it from this side with 2 holes. But I'm afraid those 2 holes won't come into an opening area. That may be another problem.
if I get this in here. Nope, none of them line up either. Even with the other side, because the two holes basically line up where the two holes are on this side. So no matter how I do it, this isn't going to mount on the inside of the printer. So again, I say the same words I say a lot, but I don't want to bleep it out this time. I say F again, but c'est la vie, huh? So I want to mount it this way, so that I want to mount it this way, so that I can get to the 110, 220 switch, which I've already set to 110. It just reeks that things don't work the way you want them to work. So unfortunately, I'm kind of screwed now with this thing. I think that's too big. Yeah, that's not right. Oh, we had, yeah, too tight. Nope, that's too small. So, I'm kind of like in between sizes on these screw holes too. Isn't that fun? Okay, so I got that one, that works. So I guess those are M4s. For that, let me make sure here. Yep, they're M4s. Alright, so that's going to be a problem because I don't have any M4s that are long enough. I don't think. Well, maybe they are. Maybe that one is. I've only got one of them. And of course, the holes aren't made for M4s. They're really made for M3s. So again, this is something that the whoever designed this part didn't think about, was that what size the hole on the power supplies. So obviously this one is an M4 hole size power supply and not an M3 hole size. Now we knew the mount was going to be M4 to go to the frame because that's the standard. And of course these screws are too long, and it's screwing down into the board, the power supply board. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. That's right. MTV. So that didn't work. Can't mount on that side because with, well, I could, but they don't have any holes on the side for me to mount. And that screw is too long, but it's going into the power supply board. And I don't have any M4s shorter other than the ones that go to the for mounting the mount. And I need those to go for that, you know, because these got to go. Those are too long for that too. I can't do them for that. So that M4 is just way too long for anything I want to do. I got a couple M4s here I might be able to use for this. I don't know if I have enough of those either. Excuse me. Of course, these have a different size. This kind has a different size Allen wrench. Uses a, I can't even read that. Nope, not too far. Sorry. Okay, got that one in. And got that one in. Oh, I do have enough of those to do this. Alright, so we got that one in. That one in. Alright, so we've got all these in place. We're going to run on the outside, like I said now. It's going to go like that. My sensor's out of the way here. And we'll put the other like that. Sucks. I hate it. I hate doing that. Hate, hate, hate. But I cannot put it in here because right there, as you can see, it's the freaking mount. I'll move this closer so you can actually see the mount here and see what I'm talking about. See how here's the mount, here's the bed level, this is the mount. And no matter what I do, see, I can't move it. And so I can't mount that inside, which sucks. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. If I do this, I can mount it like this, or I can mount it like this. I can mount it anywhere along that, anywhere I want, pretty much with that set up. As I'm making this the front of my printer, obviously, because of where the display is, I'm going to put the printer over. I'm going to put the power supply on the opposite side here, on this side. That will allow me to have my power cords go out the back into whatever else. It's like I have my cord for the USB port going out that side. I'll have the same thing happening with this. My power cord can then go out to wherever I want it to go. Let me get this this out of my way. This heat gun's out of my way here. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. This is going to go on this side right here. Maybe I'll put it like that so it's kind of mounted in between the two. Get my level sensor thing out of my way here. And I'll put it like that and it'll be kind of out of the way here. Move the other camera a little bit so we can kind of, I can move the table a little bit. We can kind of see what we're doing here. And it looks like I got it focused on here. I don't know how good the focus is because I can't see that focus from way over here. Hopefully that focus is good enough. Like I said, I think I'm going to buy another one of these Logitech cameras like this one that I'm pointing directly at. I think I'll buy another one of those to replace that camera. So I don't have to deal with this problem again later. Okay. Number 4 and a T-nut. I think that's too. I think it's too thick for this number 4. I think that number 4 is too short for this. I'm worried these ones might be too long for it. Maybe not. Maybe not. Excuse me.
thing to start, it'd be okay. I can't get it to start the damn threads. What the heck is going on with this thing? Oh, look at theirs was wrong. Wow. So I have this screw in my stuff, and look at this. I don't know if you can see it. The whole end of the you can't get the focus. The whole end is there's no threads at the very end, so I can't get that to thread onto the T-nut. And I don't have any more of those either. I know I got some more out in the garage. Break while I go to the garage.